You're on there. You're on there.
It's a little after 11 a.m. I call to order the Thursday, June 5th Physical Resources Committee to order. Mr. Van Dorn.
Mr. Chairman, I would appoint Commissioner Collins to fill in for Commissioner Blanco.
So be. Thank you, Mr. Van Dorn, for that one. We are a little late calling this meeting to order. We had a robust discussion and thorough meeting for criminal justice, so my apologies to the viewers at home. I trust that you've had an opportunity to read the minutes of May 1st, 2025. If so, I'd entertain a motion to approve those.
So moved. Support.
Moved by Tilton, supported by Collins. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We've approved the minutes. On to finance report.
You will find your finance reports in your packet, and you will see, starting with the Building and Site Division of the Capital Fund, you have various projects open right now, all incurring expenses, and you have a balance for available future projects of just over $1.4 million. Moving on to the Murray-Spear Campus Division of your Capital Fund. Again, you will see various projects happening. I actually believe the MSC roof replacement has actually started, and you'll start seeing money expenses hitting there. And you have a balance available for future projects of just over $113,000. I will attempt to answer any questions should you have them.
Any questions of the finance report? Hearing none, we have moved along to building and grounds.
Good morning. I think it's still morning, right? So,
Sir, thanks for being here.
just a quick update on a few things. At the jail, we currently have the roof replacement in progress. That should be wrapping up once weather permits to finish that. Sheriff's Office, we completed the dispatch supplemental HVAC installation. We had an occurrence last year where the rooftop unit went down and it made it difficult for those people to do their jobs in the heat there. So we've installed some supplemental HVAC to help them out in the event that that should happen again. We're looking to close a project for the annex for the exterior mortar, caulk, and seal that started last fall and got finished this spring. The Verigy LED lighting upgrade is nearing completion. They should be done with that next week, and we can close that out. We had some repairs made to the sprinkler system at the Human Services Building to bring us up to code so that we could pass our inspection. And we also conducted our biannual fire drill there. Everything went smoothly. You're going to hear more about the detention expansion project that's ongoing a little later on in the meeting. And I think that's pretty much the highlights of buildings and grounds for this.
Thank you. Any questions of building and grounds? Hearing none, seeing none, I understand we have a few requests before us.
Yes, you have a request before you to close project CPBS 2403, which is, as the superintendent explained, the annex exterior building maintenance, which is that caulk seal. So again, the motion before you is to close CPBS 2403.
So moved. Support.
Moved by Tilton, supported by Commissioner Collins. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all those Mr. Tilton, the hand.
Generally, there's a cost and there's a cost to doing it, and then there's a minus or a plus in the end. So we have money left over?
Yes, we actually, we didn't have to use any of the contingency that we had designated for that project. So there was a project balance of $985.
Okay, thank you.
Great question, Mr. Tilton. Any other questions? Hearing none, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Well, same sign, motion carries. We have an additional request with.
So the next request before you is to close project CPBS 2504, which is a judicial chiller repair that has been completed, and there is a remaining balance of about $1,600 in that project.
That's outstanding.
Motion to approve. Support.
Motion by Collins, supported by Tilton. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oh, same sign. We've closed that request. Onward to the Drain Commission. Mr. Scheffler,
Good morning, everybody.
good morning.
I just got a few things to report on here. Our sanitary sewer and water systems, the Posey Lake Lift Station, it has been completed, so that project's done. And we survived the Memorial Day weekend rush when it usually gets pretty busy for us when people come in and open up their cottages around the lakes. You really tend to see if there's issues with your systems. We did have quite a bit of overtime, but we survived it and everything's functioning properly. To report on the Red Mill Dam, the auxiliary spillway floor has now been completed. They did the last pour yesterday. There's still a couple walls that they are pouring, and then they're going to be moving on to some of the concrete repairs. We've got gates and actuators to install and the kayak portage work. They'll be kind of transitioning over to that. On the financial end of that, we had sent out prepayment letters. We did receive quite a few prepayments, and we met with our bond counsel yesterday, and we put out RFQs for bids to banks for the bonds, and we should be hearing back on June 24th. I'll be taking a look at all the bids, and the project is still on schedule to be completed by the end of July. In regards to storm sewer drain maintenance, crews are still in full operation, doing primarily drain tile repairs. However, they are slowing down as the fields are getting planted. We don't have access to them, but we are transitioning to more of our non-agricultural drains, which in all of our subdivisions and detention basins and stuff, which we typically do in the summer. And I guess as a little bit of a side note, the Hudson area received right around 3 inches of rain overnight. So Posey Lake in particular, the level came up, so we've adjusted those boards this morning. And I think that the level's going down. So if there's any questions, I'm here. If not, that's all I have today.
Any questions of the Drain Commissioner? Thank you so much, Ed. Appreciate your service. On to updates and other business, MSC renovations.
As some of you heard from Criminal Justice from Director Rod Weaver, the MSC expansion continues to go rather quickly, I think. The corridors connecting administration to the expansion is being completed as we speak. They've blown through admin. We've got some protective gear there to protect the current administration building, kitchen, existing kitchen and open unit and things of that nature. Through the various pictures, you'll see that things are taking shape within the kitchen, the industrial centralized kitchen, as well as some of the detention sleeping rooms. The resinous flooring is currently being poured, which is going really slowly. Unfortunately, we have two guys and one has to lay something down, then the other one kind of vacuums it up and lays more down. So we're trying to get them to move a little bit quicker. But right now, the projected completion is right around mid to late September. That's when training will start taking place with the various departments, Department on Aging, as well as Marie Spear Campus. When I say training, I mean on things in the kitchen. All of those are new appliances that they have not utilized, as well as the control room in the Marie Spear Campus detention facility, with the handover date of October 7th. And when I say October 7th, that's when we'll be moving residents into the facility. And then we would start the MDHHS grant, infrastructure grant, right around October 8th. And we would be completing that project April 26th, April 27th. So we would have a full completion date of both the expansion and the renovation by end of April of 2026.
Any questions on that? Mr. Collins?
I noticed in the pictures what appeared to be some appliances. Are there appliances that have been moved in currently?
That is correct. Some of the new appliances for the kitchen have already been moved in and settled in their placed.
Any other question? Mr. Van Dorn?
What was the significance of the picture with all those black spots on the floor? I didn't.
I think that's showing you before the resinous flooring, because if you look, that one has some of that gray resinous flooring, and that was about like a without it, with it type of a picture.
Before and after.
And you see the painting on the sleeping room as well as the edging on the bottom, and then the flooring is poured in another picture.
Thank you.
It's not nouveau art.
Pardon me?
It's not nouveau art.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? MSC?
No,
Dr. Van Dorn?
I just hope the deputy administrator gets an award after this is all done for getting this all through. So-
She's doing a great job. I will commend her on that, her efforts. I want to be as elastic with you all. All right. We have a couple of requests before us.
First request before you is to finalize the purchase of two 2025 Chevy Tahoes for the Sheriff's Department. These were approved on your capital plan for 2025. Again, they've just come through and are available for the Sheriff's Department. So the request is to purchase the two vehicles, each vehicle costing $53,672 for a total cost of $107,344 from the capital fund.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tillotson,
Or
supported by Commissioner Collins. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those same sign, motion carries. On to a additional request. We have Administrator Murphy is going to take this one. Change order number 1.
So as most of you know, we have a tenant in the Human Services building by the name of Department of Health and Human Services. This is a lease that is actually held with the state of Michigan. We have been working through the renovation project for that for a number of years, quite frankly. And part of the negotiation was that these repairs, some of those costs would be borne by the county and some of those costs would be borne by the tenant. And the reason any of the costs would be borne by the county is because as the landlord and pursuant to any of the lease agreements we have, there are certain things that we are responsible for. That project has been completed. As we went through the project, there were a few things that, as in any renovation, oops, we didn't anticipate this. Oh, we're going to give a credit to that. So there was some ebb and flow on that. The majority of the project, it was agreed upon that the Department of Health and Human Services would pay us a lump sum distribution for all of the renovation costs that were incurred rather than amortizing it over a number of years, which has been done in the past. That total amount is $673,061. That amount has been invoiced and that payment should either be arriving yet this week or at the beginning of next week. So we will have that back in our coffers. The remaining amount is a change order that we have finally gone through and worked out with the state as to whose cost would be whom's. And that the total change orders for this project are just over the 35,000. You can see here the total amount is $35,763. So what we're asking for today is simply to recommend basically up to Personnel Ways and Means that Board Chairman Van Doren be authorized to sign the AIA change order number 1 in the amount of $35,763. As a reminder, this is not a general fund cost. This is a cost of a fund. It's called 502, which is Human Services Building is considered more of a enterprise fund, or what I would call more like a business, and that's how we try to run it. And so all of these costs have been incurred through that fund, are being reimbursed through that fund. So I don't know if you have any questions, but I can try to answer those. Otherwise, that is the motion before you.
just out of curiosity, what were some of the overruns?
Those are attached in the action request form, but I can go through those.
I don't, just examples.
Examples are the tenant decided that they wanted to have the existing ceiling grids painted. That was not something that was on the original scope. So we agreed to do that, and the tenant is picking up the cost to have those grids painted. As an example, there was some credits given back because on something called the CE6 finishes, changes, and site review, that some of those finishes were adjusted, which gave a credit back. There was another, as an example, another larger one was the ceiling tiles needed to be changed. because this project has gone on for so long, there's been some changeover in personnel all over the place with our contractor, with the state, with us. And through that, the types of ceiling tiles that were required as part of the lease agreement, because they can be very specific, were missed. So we had to send those back and reorder the correct ones in there. So there was a bit of a change there. So there was those types of costs that came along all as we went through, and you can keep scrolling. There's a couple more pages of it to show that by the time we got through the add-ons and the deducts, the total amount came out to the 35,000.
I would, I'd move that we accept the motion and in years past, I've been on some committees, so I kind of understand some of their wants and some of them get kind of really on the foolish side of the things, but that 600 figure against 35 looks pretty good to me. I don't think you can better.
Motion by Commissioner Tillotson, supported by Commissioner Collins. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. On a public comment, is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Hearing none, seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Collins, supported by Commissioner Tillotson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.